So if your fruit trees are looking like our fruit trees, that's not actually a good thing, okay? Let's talk about trimming fruit trees. Hey, welcome back to Lonely Pines Farm. It's been a while. This is Jerry, that's Laura behind the camera. Today we're talking about pruning a really overgrown apple tree. So this tree has been here, I don't even know, 25, 30 years or something. I'm not an arborist, just a guy that went down the rabbit hole. There is so much canopy growth up top that it's covered in lichens, it has disease, it's got bugs. The apples, there's so many apples, but none of them are really fantastic because the fruit or the tree just can't produce that many apples, right? So today we're going to try to trim this back a little bit. We're going to keep in mind you can only go about 25% in any one good year. Let's take a look at it and see what we want to do. So the number one biggest problem with this tree is it's too damn tall. I cannot take care of this tree. I can't get dormant oil or anything else up there when I want to spray or prune. It's just way too big, so we need to lower it down, the canopy. The next biggest problem is inside, it's just all overgrown. You can't get any sunlight in there. So we need to reduce the center. You kind of want your fruit trees to grow out like a bowl or a chalice or something along those lines. Now another reason to thin out the canopy is if the tree has too many second and third year shoots, it's going to produce a ton of fruit. But more is not always better. This tree can only support so much fruit. If you have too much, it could possibly even start dropping fruit before it's ripe. Usually that happens in June. But if it's just got too much growth on it, you're not going to have quality fruit. So again, we're going to reduce the inside, open it up, let some sunlight inside. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. So this is the part where all the arborists write me dirty letters and threaten to kill me, okay? You should have the proper tools. A pruning saw is worth its weight in gold. I don't have one currently. I use a recip saw on my job all the time. I am going to get a brand new blade for this, okay? But I've got some big cuts to make and I'm not going to be here for hours doing them. So I'm going to use a recip saw. I am going to disinfect a brand new blade with alcohol, okay? Think about this. If you did anything with a saw or a blade and you cut a tree that's got disease, it's diseased. And if you use it on your next tree, you've just passed it to the next tree. Don't do that. Disinfect at least between trees, okay? And start with something brand new. So in theory, the first cuts you should make is to remove all of the dead wood that you can find on the tree. I can't believe this tree doesn't have any at the moment. I did that last year though. I guess that's where it's all gone. So that does not count as your 25%. The rule of 25% with fruit trees is don't ever take off more than that in 1 year. So if you've got some ugly monster like this, you need to plan for a few years before it gets to be in a really good looking shape, okay? You cannot do it all at once, otherwise you just have massive growth that you don't want in places that you don't want it. Didn't come out right.
I hate that.
There is such a thing as over pruning, okay? Don't do that. So it's not good for the tree doesn't react well, etc., etc. You could actually stunt your growth and everything else. So don't take off more than 25% in 1 year, okay? These used to be little tiny water sprouts. Can you see this? Mm-hmm. This little guy, this is kind of like a water sprout right here. That's what this used to be, and it got left to go for, I don't know, 10 years probably. But I can't take care of this. It's just too tall. I can't harvest from it. So I want this whole thing gone. And then I'm probably going to start trying to train a couple of these into being my scaffold branch, which will support all my second and third year growth. Yeah, let's start by removing this one. It's a big branch and it's way up high. It's going to be a bugger to get out of here, so I'm going to cut it into a couple of pieces. But by the time I'm all done, it'll just be the one cut right above the collar where it attaches to the other branch. Yeah. So eventually I'm gonna cut it all the way down here to the collar. Mm-hmm. But when it falls, it could crack and split and it could damage the bark and stuff down below it and everything. I don't want that to happen. So my first cut I'm gonna put up higher. It's probably gonna fall right there next to that post. Watch out for the dog. Okay, this piece might come your way, so be aware. Right. yeah, this big one right here. Look how much of the tree that is. Holy smokes. We could probably just make one cut right here and that's going to be like 25% of the tree right there. Ah, it's huge. Yeah. Okay, well I can't take it all down in one piece though. So, another thing to really consider is anything that grows into the middle of the tree. That's just going to cause you more problems. Once you open this up, all these ones are going to start growing. So just get rid of this thing right now. So this is another thing that you definitely don't want. You don't want to have all these branches taking up the same space and they're all crisscrossing each other. When the winds blow, they all rub, they knock the fruit off the tree or bruise it to the point where nobody really wants to eat it. So you got to get rid of some of these crisscrossing branches. So I tend to get rid of these lower ones that are growing all by themselves because I'm liking this upper structure. That's going to be a nice scaffold branch up here. It's going to come down over here. Hopefully we'll get rid of this one. So it looks like a lot of material's been removed, and that is a big chunk, but when you pan around and look at it, it's really only a couple of the old water sprouts we cut off that happened to branch a ton way up tall. I don't even think we're to 25%. Let's take off a little more. So on this one, the collar is right here. So if I cut like this, I'm going to wound this tree permanently. I want to cut like this and try to miss this collar over here. I don't want to get that close. That's enough.
I think so.
I don't think we should take off too much more.
Yeah.
The problem is if you take off too much, then you'll get wild growth. All sorts of water sprouts. The tree doesn't think it has enough leaves to support the fruit that's coming, so it'll just go gangbusters, and then you have to prune twice as much next year. So don't get tempted to take off too much in any one year. I think this is enough. Let's fire up the chipper. What was our goal today? I forgot. Tire me out. So our goal today was to lower the tree so that we could take care of it for starters, open up the inside so that we can get some light in it, and to reduce the amount of growth we have all the way around so we don't have so many apples, we get really good apples instead. So it looks pretty good to me. We reduced quite a bit up there. I think we took off at least 25-30% of the tree. You're going to notice there's certain places that still look unmanaged, really thick. Maybe you have lots of big water sprouts. It's just the way it goes sometimes. The first year, take off so much. The second year, it'll be easier. The third year, you'll really have control over it. But if you go too much in one time, you're going to pay the price. Just don't do it. It's bad for the tree. So I hope you enjoyed the video. You can find us on all the different social media platforms. Hit the like and the subscribe button, and we'll talk to you soon.